What's up, and welcome back to the Beyond the Coach podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kelsey Nanini.
And I'm Chris Sweet.
And today this is for, coaches. I guess if you're not a coach, you can
I was
listen to
about
this
to
as
say,
well. But
I also want to preface with the fact that Kelsey is doing this caffeine free right now.
guys,
If you guys feel like the vibes are a little off,
yeah, I
it's
usually have my
because
coffee. Just have this protein shake in a brewery cup. I have my glucose test this morning, but my OB gave me the go ahead. She said, go ahead and have protein.
There you go.
So here I am, because otherwise I would probably get sick at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if my brain's going to brain today. So just no caffeine. Stay tuned. Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? We get to take a gamble. We're really taking a risk today.
Quite the risk. But
Yep.
that's okay. We wanted to chit chat today a little bit about what we used to say we would never do as coaches that we now do. I didn't have a lot of these, but I'm sure as we go, probably think of other ones.
I was going to say I didn't really have a lot either, but I feel like, you know how, and my coaches will understand this, of how you're working with a client, right? And you're like, I just don't understand why they aren't hitting their macros or why they aren't doing that. And it's because you've been doing it for so long that it's normal to you now of sometimes you're too smart. You don't know how to teach it at moments. You're like, how do I help someone do this? Right. Or how do I simplify this? I almost have a hard time catching my routines to think, what do I do? What do I do now that I said at one point I wouldn't do, because it's just so normal, in my head, to just be doing what I'm doing. I don't even think of my evolution as I never said it, or I used to never say I would do this and now I do it. I just think of it that way, where I'm there's moments where you don't even catch yourself in it. You forget that you're oh yeah, this is what I've been doing for so long. And I at one point said I wouldn't do this. It's just normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part of it but the coolest part is you get to evolve. You get to just not stay stagnant in one thing. And I think it's the same thing as we get older and grow up. We all have different values and takes and principles and all these different things because of just the evolution of who we are and the experiences we have in life. And it goes same to our education as coaches. So yeah, it was interesting to sit on this last night and think about what I do now that I said I wouldn't.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Meal plans. Not that I prescribe meal plans. I want to make that very clear. I don't prescribe them. I used to never believe in, I used to just be very much again, if it fits your macros. I think we talked about that in the last podcast or a couple before that, of if it fits your macros, then you can eat whatever. I used to teach my clients that way too. I used to be if it fits your macros, you can have whatever you want in 2019. Now I focus on actual quality of food, and I give them a meal list or a grocery list or meal ideas to understand how to actually build meals. And so I do think in some cases, meal plans are actually helpful, or at least example meal plans are helpful, because a lot of people don't know how to eat. A lot of people have no idea how to make a balanced plate, or have no idea what some good vegetable choices are with a certain grain and a certain protein. So I think that actually having that type of guidance helps clients a lot. However, then I still believe in the fact that meal plans are not the thing that will get you to your end result. I think they're the thing that can help build education and build your confidence with it, so that moving forward what to do and how to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I have one that was kind of going off of that. It was kind of just everything I've been doing on the functional side of everything. And I used to think kind of to the same point of having, if it fits your macros, I was always hey, you can have balance. I was the coach that was everything in moderation, balance, yada, yada, yada. It's not bad to have this or that. And while I still believe that, it's also when my clients are in functional protocols, that's not the case. You do have to be a little more strict. And I never thought I would be the coach that would be that way. And now I am kind of getting on clients when they aren't following the protocol to a T, because it's hey, you're in this protocol. This is how you're going to heal is being a little more aggressive initially and being able to, my fingernail got stuck on my shirt, and being able to slowly like ease off of it. But like there's a time and place to be restrictive and to be aggressive. And I think historically, you know, we saw a lot of coaches that they're just like that all the time for no rhyme or reason. Like they do create restrictive protocols for their clients, but it's not for gut health or hormone health or metabolic health. It's just for them to lose weight, and that's where I disagree with it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think going off of that too, like I used to be the person who was like, you don't need supplements. Like I was like, you don't need supplements. Like you can get everything naturally and like you can, right? There's natural food sources and nutrients and vitamins that you need. But for some people, in some bodies, like you actually do need supplementation, and supplementation is not this terrible thing. Because I think a lot of people used to, especially again, I always go back to 2019. That was when like the reds and the greens were like the big thing that everyone was like shaking together into their meals. And I will say, I was a victim to that. I definitely hopped on the reds and greens bandwagon. Every freaking fitness influencer was doing it. I was like, oh yeah, it's great. No.
I returned them.
Now, I don't blame you. They tasted like
I got them my 30-day money back guarantee. I was like, this is disgusting. These are the worst thing I ever
They tasted like grass. And you have all these influencers that are like, just add a little bit of lemon. And I'm like, no, lemon didn't help. Like nothing saving
the
this.
Legion ones actually are like decent. Oh, we've had those.
I was going to say,
I know which ones you're talking about. And they tasted like dirt. I literally returned them. I was like, I want my money back. I was like, I did not trust any influencer anymore.
Yes. And so I used to always think like that when I thought of supplements. Now I think of like probiotics and magnesium and like a protein supplementation if you do need one. Like I think about how it is something that can be a tool when paired with a really solid foundation of nutrition and fitness. Like I don't think that you can outrun a bad diet with supplements. I think you have to have a good diet in order for the supplements to be better utilized and for you to actually have the outcome you want with those two. So that was definitely something that I used to think like, I'd never recommend that because there was just so many different like shifts and eras of, you know, what supplementation was in the industry. And it was very controversial depending on which side you leaned on. And now I'm kind of in that middle area of like, I think they are necessary for a lot of people to have them to support their body, but it has to be paired with a good foundation of nutrition and fitness because you can't outrun it.
Yeah, it's like those things have to come first. Your foundations come first. And then if we need to supplement, then sure. I was totally the same way of like, you have to get all your nutrients through food. And while I still believe that, I also think to some point, if you're so deficient in something, like if you're so deficient in, let's say, potassium, that even to get your potassium levels up, you'd have to have, and I'm not joking, this is the case in some arenas, is you'd have to have 100 bananas a day to even like hit that amount. Then maybe we supplement potassium. And so like I think it's just for sure I completely agree with that one. I'll kind of shift gears a little bit. I never thought I would be the coach to actually like ask questions. And it's not something I ever thought about really, to be honest. Because I was always the coach. I have always been the person who's like, I got my degree in this. I am educated. I've been a trainer for this long. Like, I know my shit. So, because of that, if you ask a question, I'm going to give you the answer. And so I was always the coach feeding answers. And it's like, why are people still not listening to me? And I hear this time and time again with the coaches I work with. I've given I've given them all the different tips. I've given them all the different tricks, and I feel like nothing changes. And I'm like, that's because they don't need more tips and tricks. They know what to do. But subconsciously, for whatever reason, they're not doing it. Or consciously, maybe. And so I just got really good at asking the right questions. Instead of like someone being like, I just really am struggling to hit my protein, I'd be like, cool, like what's coming up for you at a meal when you are struggling to hit your protein? Like, why is that the case? Are you planning ahead? And I think just getting really good at diving into those is a game changer. And you'll just notice clients adhere so much better when you start to actually just ask questions versus give answers.
Yeah.
motivational interviewing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think bouncing off of that, one that I thought of was I used to think you needed your like degree and certification and everything, and that was enough. Like I used to be like, you could just get your certification and like you're fine. I actually also think that, yes, I think certifications are important. Like, I want to make that known. I think, like, knowing the education, knowing the material. But I also think that experience and being like a human is like a very important quality when you are becoming a coach. And I used to think, like, oh, I have to have all these certifications under my belt. And I think this is where the expansion of Apex came into play that really helped my mindset was like having a functional team, having a physical therapist, having a pelvic floor therapist, like hiring people out who do have those certifications. And by proxy, I get to learn from them too and give my clients a better experience. And so instead of trying to be like, everything for everyone, it's like building my experience up to be the best coach in what I can be, and then obviously having a team behind me of like other people in different expertise that can support us along the way. Because I used to think that your NASM CPT was like the holy grail of coaching, and it's not.
Literally, I was like, it's the gold standard, and then it's not.
It's not.
This isn't necessarily the topic, like what I'd say I'd never do, but kind of going off your point made me think of it is like, I actually firmly believe that every single person should have to train in person before going online. I think that that's, and it's not to say that's like a entryway into training or anything like that, but you learn so much about a human's like psychology in a sense, or like how they like respond to certain things, and also how the body moves. I think it's really, really challenging for coaches to give form feedback to clients via video online when they haven't done it in person, because you can't actually, like, I don't know if you're allowed to touch now. I don't know if that's loud, but when I was training in 2017, 18, even 19, like we were a lot like just touching pinpoints of like, hey, right here is where I want you to feel it, like maneuvering. I don't know. But anyways, it was so helpful for me to learn how the human body moved. And it's not to say if you're online, you can't be a good coach because you didn't train in person. Like, I don't want to say that, but I do think it does help from a training perspective.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Yeah, and where I'm coming at as far as like things I said I would never do, it's like, there were times where I was like, I'll never like hire this person. I'll never expand my team to this. I'll never do that. Like I'll never. It was also always like, I'll do this and this and that. Like I was very much the like, I'll do all of it. Mm-hmm. It's like now I'm actually not doing all of it. And it's actually kind of really nice to have a team of people who like are actually better at it than I could be if I even tried to go do it all. Like I think that that's really valuable. And so like delegation is a big one, and trying not to be everything for everyone, because I definitely used to do that.
Yeah. Funny enough, I said I did have a team, and then I didn't have a team. And when I didn't have a team, I was like, I will never have a team again. Like I literally was like, I'm done. I want assistant coaches. I don't want like anything. I just want to be a one-man show, one-woman show. And that'll be that. And I'll just be blissful and everything will be fine. And I got into like 10 months into that. And I was like, I've always been on a team. Like I've always, in some capacity, since I've been 3 years old, I've had a team. And I was like, I don't want to do this alone. So it kind of like, I went back on my word. Like I had a team, and then I said I'd never do it again. And then I learned my lesson. So it's kind of off your point too. Like I definitely was there. And I think that's also like a testament to the cool part of business is there's no rules. If you decide one day you actually do want to do something you haven't been doing, that's your prerogative. You can do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The other thing too, going into like a training concept for me was I used to genuinely think cardio was the enemy for everybody. Like I was very much, the way that I learned even hypertrophy training and just like building muscle, like, cause I very much came from like bodybuilding-esque. Like I never did bodybuilding, but like it was very much that was kind of my entryway into fitness before I went into more of the performance side of like even wanting to train for powerlifting. And so when I was thinking of like building phases, right, and I was thinking of like bulking and I was thinking of maintenance, I genuinely thought, I was like, no one should do cardio in these phases. Like, it's pointless. Like, you need to keep that. Like, that is a thing that you need to hold on to as much as you can to not do it, so that when you enter a deficit, you can do it. And now it's something like, it was always an entryway to just like make the cuts easier versus actually working towards like obviously good health and cardiovascular. And so that's something that's definitely taken a huge shift for me over the last, 5 years. It definitely didn't last long where I was like, nobody should do cardio. It became something where I was like, no, everyone should do some ounce of cardio. And I used to just look at it all as like a metric of like losing weight and not a metric of like, how do I make someone really healthy?
Yeah, it's super funny that I feel like that used to be a flex of like, my client lost 20 pounds doing no cardio. And I'm like, well, that's not like that used to be like the big thing because people would complain about it. But when you really do the research, I think I talked about this on the last podcast episode about how like 43.9% of people are projected to have cardiovascular disease by 2030. Yep. Not being active is part of that reason. And so I always tell people, even when they're going into a bulk or going into just like a muscle gain phase, whatever it is, I'm like, hey, cardio is like higher because you're in a deficit, but like, I'm not going to pull back substantially. Like, we're not just going to completely get rid of it because you actually need this. Like, your lifting is anaerobic. It is not aerobic. So even if your heart rate is getting up, it's not training your heart rate in the way that aerobic activity does, and that you need your heart to be trained. And so even when we pull back, it's still kept in there for overall health. I think it's so important. Like, and also like walking outside is not gonna do it for you. It's great. Please do it. Please go on walks, but that's not aerobic activity. It's just extra movement.
Yep. Yeah, I actually told my coach more recently because I've been like, I'm not doing any cardio, but now I am. I originally wasn't. And I was like, I had a lift maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I was like out of breath lifting. I was like, this is awful. Like, this is not something that I had really experienced of like truly being like, oh my gosh, I feel like out of shape lifting right now. Like, that's weird. And I immediately sent a message to my coach because we were kind of debating like what we wanted the next step of my training to be. Did I want to go from like 3 days up to 4 days? What was kind of this? And I think I talked about this on one of the podcast episodes of having a conversation with her with like, hey, I don't have the bandwidth to do 4 lifting sessions. My body cannot even take that stress right now, especially with just how tired I have felt with like moving and packing and all of that. So we decided to like add in cardio because I was like, hey, I'm just very out of breath like doing this. And it's a wake up call of I need to get back into easing into cardio, especially with the goals I have next year. And sometimes you just need that reminder as you're out of breath in the middle of a workout. You're like, I could use an incline walk on a treadmill or a Stairmaster or run outside right now to go like help my body.
Yeah, that's fair. I've learned to enjoy cardio, but I think also like if you're getting into running, I know a lot of people are like, I hate cardio because I hate running. Like, you don't have to run, but also I find people start running and they just go all out. And I used to be that person too. You just run as fast as you can. It's like, no, like ease it and like train your heart. It's not as hard as you think it is if you start slow. To the training point as well, I always thought I would, like, I was always the coach back in, like, when I first started, obviously, very, very beginner coach, baby coach, that if you didn't have this specific form, like, it was wrong. Where I've learned over time, it's like, your body determines your form. And so now what I actually do with a lot of clients when they send form videos, I'm like, hey, to me, this looks good. But to you, how does it feel? And I think that's a really important question because for some people, background, like it was always so bad. Oh my God, you're going to tear your back out in a deadlift. But for some people, they've trained to be able to do that and it's okay. For other people, they haven't and they go heavier and then they end up destroying their back. Same thing with like RDLs. And so if I find that people, for instance, I find a lot of clients have rounded shoulders. Well, why do we all have rounded shoulders? Because we're all sitting at our desks all day like this, hunched over. And I notice that it becomes more prominent. And when they're doing RDLs, then their low back hurts. And I'm like, well, it's not your low back that's the issue. It's your upper back that's the issue. And now your spine is rounded, causing your low back to be in pain. But primarily, like that shouldn't hypothetically be an issue for most people to just like not have their scaps engaged in a RDL. So over time, I just learned that it's like there's not a perfect form for everyone, but you have to find even like a squat. Like people like always point your toes out. I'm like, well, for some people, they don't need to point their toes out. Like they don't need open hips. For a lot of women, yes, they do. For tall people, they need a wider stance. Like it's just so different. And so it's cool to be able to kind of like learn what those different things look like for different people.
Yeah. And I think that goes into like the certification stuff. Like when I was learning NASM, it was very much like black and white. Like, here's how you assess a squat. Here's how you assess this. Here's what it needs to look like. And it's like form is not meant to be like this black and white thing. Like you are, to your point, everyone has a different lifestyle and body. For me, actually, when I injured my back, my physical therapist was like, I want to actually work on rounding your spine because like you're so used to getting into an engaged position, and this was pertaining to my deadlifts because that's how I had injured myself. He was like, we're going to do Jefferson curls and we're just literally going to make you round your back. Like, and that was how I warmed up. And he wanted me to start doing that because your body is not meant to move in this like stiffness of a way day to day. And that's what was causing me to get injured was like, I was not training in a very functional, I was training in a powerlifting training block, which is not very functional at all. You're just lifting a lot of weight pretty much. And it's very boring. But after that, I was not working on anything functional day to day. So like I hurt myself picking up groceries because I was picking up groceries not the same way I was picking up a barbell and like nothing was transferring and I wasn't strong enough to manage my pain. So even to that point, like rounding your spine and like having low back pain is not this like reason not to do something. Like it's a great reason for us to take feedback from the body. But that was the other thing. I thought, oh my God, it hurts this, I should stop. Like that's actually another thing that I guess I said at one point I would never do that I do now is like, if I feel pain, it's not like I'm not paying attention to my body and I'm not going to be smart about it, but not all pain is a reason to like pack up and leave the gym or a reason to like not do a workout or like all because one movement hurts your knee doesn't mean you go try a different movement. Like there are just so many different ways that you can get creative. And that's what I've really learned on my pain journey, especially.
Yeah, that was actually my next one. Was so many clients will panic when they feel pain, especially coming back from an injury. I know for me, that was like the most mentally triggering thing with coming back from all my knee injuries was feeling pain. Because I'm like, holy shit, I'm injured again. It's broken. The surgery didn't work. Which, I mean, multiple times it did not. But that's beside the point. It's also because we're avoiding a lot of things. Like avoiding doing anything because it causes pain to some point. If you want to grow in any capacity, there is going to be some level of pain. If it's a really high scale, like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're on 8, 9, 10 all the time. Yes, pull back and maybe we choose something else, or you just adjust the training, like the specific exercise. It doesn't have to be that if a split squat hurts your knees, you don't have to take the split squat completely out, but could we start body weight? Could we reduce the range of motion? Same thing with squatting. Like, could we use a box to squat versus just doing a full back squat? And like, what kind of things can we moderate? If you're using tempo and going really slow, could we speed it up just a little bit so there's not as much time under tension? And I think when you start to like adjust those things, then you can try to pinpoint what's going on and figure out where that pain is coming from, and strengthen that area and that certain point of the movement.
Yeah, 100%. My next point that actually just came to me as you were talking was, I used to always tell myself, clients, like years ago, of like, if you didn't get enough sleep, like choose sleep over going to the gym. Like if you didn't get enough sleep and if you don't feel good, like don't go to the gym. And I'm saying, obviously, if you're sick, like please stay away from the gym, like just for everyone else's sake, like especially going into cold and flu season. But sometimes you're not going to get enough sleep. Like, and this goes to like my moms that I coach, they're not getting enough sleep at all.
Ever.
And Alessandra Skutnik actually posted about this not too long ago when she had talked about like kind of her hot take on sleep. She was like, to be honest, I'm going to choose training over sleep right now because like I get up and it's the thing that actually energizes me for the rest of the day versus getting that extra hour of sleep. Now there's a give and a take. There's always going to be times for you to get more sleep, but I think it's also determining that and not creating it into a bad habit. Like if you can really sit back and think, that was me yesterday. Yesterday, I technically had planned to go to the gym. I woke up, I was completely exhausted just from like stress and traveling back from Vermont the day before. And I was like, it's actually going to be in my interest to like get an extra hour of sleep. And then I ended up being productive around the house and like unpacking some of our bags before I started the work day. And that was just more productive, but I knew I was still going to have time in the rest of the week to get in my lifts. To be honest, if it was a Thursday and I was like, this is my last chance to get in a lift, I would have gone to the gym. I would have said, screw it if you're tired. Like you can do it tired. You can get there. There's a lot of things that I have done tired that I haven't gotten enough sleep that I have shown up for the next day. And I think that it's okay to make that determination to not let it turn into a pattern of like, oh, I'm tired, or, oh, I only got like this amount of sleep. Maybe don't go lift really heavy weight and hit PRs the day after you didn't get enough sleep. Like definitely don't go do that, but like go on the treadmill and just see how you feel. Go try your lift and like reduce your intensity. Not every week is going to look the same, simply because of our biofeedback in our bodies.
Yeah, for sure. Look at us just thinking of things as you bring it up. I thought of this too. This just as a small one. It's not a big deal, but like I used to be the coach also that was like, definitely catch up on sleep this weekend. It's like you haven't gotten enough. And I've learned like a consistent circadian rhythm is actually more important than like catching up. Like, catching up on sleep isn't going to do a whole lot for you. And so now I actually push clients to just like go to bed within the same hour every night, ideally within the same 30 minutes, and wake up within that same hour, 30 minutes, because getting into a rhythm, like your body strives on rhythm and routine, and just getting into that is so helpful. Like if you're only getting 4 hours of sleep on the weekdays, then yeah, you probably should maybe sleep a little bit more on the weekends, but that's not necessarily doing anything for you. So it's like, hey, let's actually just like try to get more sleep on the weekdays, given it's not always that simple. I think I also used to be the coach that was like, you need to figure out a way to get your sleep. And now I'm like, there's a very real reason people aren't getting sleep. Swing shift, being a parent, like there's so many reasons, night shift, all that stuff where it's not going to be perfect. And so I think just as a coach, you learn to adapt and figure out what's going to like work for the client in that time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I think there's just a lot of like belief systems that I carried from my own training and like my own from the beginning that like, again, going back to education, it's important because you get to learn these things and understand them better. I've learned so much just from like seeing other people and like just honestly studying other people's stuff that they're posting and like their opinions. I love to gather all of the opinions that other people have and let that also help me within my coaching to just get different perspectives. One thing also that like I used to think was true was like kind of that everyone had the same 24 hours in a day. And that was when I was much younger. That was like in my earlier 20s when I didn't understand that like, oh, like life and kids and this, like, to me, I was like, no excuses. Like you get like, this is also the era of like how you and I started in business. It was like grind, go, like no excuses. You're always building. You're always making sales. Like you're always doing that.
Sales in your sleep.
No, like it's not that. And you don't have to push yourself to that. And I definitely at one point was like the no excuses coach because I just honestly didn't have a lot of perspective and like understanding. And I think that's also when you're a young coach, you get to just learn a lot about life just by working with people. And like, it's a developmental thing. And I definitely have different opinions of like how someone spends their time now than I did like 5 years ago. So that was just another thing that came to my head as you were talking.
Oh, it's funny how your life, like when you're a younger coach, it's so much different. And then your life shifts and you get older and you're like, wow.
I was kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I was kind of a dick. And that's why, like, I think it can be really hard for moms to get coached by younger people. So if you're listening to this and you are a mom or you're just in your 30s, like, it's probably in your best interest to not get coached by someone who's 21, 22. Even if they are a good coach. Like, this isn't to say anything against someone that's 21, 22. More power to you for being a coach and like, you know, following a passion, but there's not as much life experience at that point, regardless of if they think there is or not, there's not. So I think it is just beneficial to have someone that you relate to more, when you are coaching, but, kind of shifting gears a little bit. My one thing, like, I think we talked about it earlier in the show, was like we wanted to do everything. Like, I wanted to just do it all. I didn't want to have to outsource. I didn't want to have to do any of this stuff. I also thought it was like not sincere to have automations.
Yep.
Like, I didn't think it was
Oh my God,
sincere
yeah. And
to
AI.
automate anything or use AI. Like, I just thought, if I do that, then it's not like authentic. It's not like me, and it feels wrong. And I'm like, oh, I was out of thought.
Yep.
Because now I'm like, I automate the shit out of everything, otherwise I'll forget. And guess what I did when I wasn't automating stuff? I forgot all the time.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, automate.
Automations are important. Also, another thing is I used to think that everyone deserved my time. I used to think that, like, if a client needed a call, I would hop on a call. Things I do now that I said I would never do was, like, honestly denying calls, like denying things for clients sometimes, because I had to really actually get selfish with like the value of my time as a person and be like, hey, I have other clients. And also that not I used to think going into phone calls that I could solve everything for a client. Now, don't get me wrong. We have had calls, Kelsey and I together have had calls with plenty of clients. I have a call this week with a client because they need help, because they need something. Never going to be like the asshole coach that's like, you never get to talk to me on a phone. But I also think it's important to, going back to asking questions, figuring out like, what's the goal of the call? What is, like, I would never ask anything. I would just give everybody that permission. Like, hey, here's my booking link. Yep, book with me any time of the day, any week, whatever you want. No limitation to it. And I think that actually created so much more dependency of my clients who were working with me versus an independence and them being able to problem solve together with us virtually, versus always being like, yeah, let's hop on a call and hop on a call and hop on a call. Like, I just felt at that point, it was honestly like not being productive for either of us. And that wasn't me, again, being an asshole of like, you don't get to talk to me. It was me being like, what is the intention of this call? And what are you hoping to get out of it? So that like we leave this call and like we're feeling good. Another thing too was like cutoff times. I used to suck at being like, okay, 30 minutes, you're up. Like, I used to stay on calls for an hour over sometimes with some clients just to like help them. And I had to realize that was actually hurting me, not only professionally, but like actually mentally. Like, I was just very giving a lot of my time to people and not giving enough time to myself to like go work on things that I needed to, even in my own personal life.
Yeah, for sure. And like on the topic of boundaries, like it wasn't something I never thought I would do, but I used to just text clients and not use a messaging feature in Trainerize, and it would just be like, yeah, just message me. Just like text me on my number. No. Well, you can email now. Like email like for like a lead to like on sales calls. I'd be like, yeah, just text me. No. You could text the number we have on GHL, or you could email. And that's
also, I'm literally looking in the bottom left of my corner at my computer. I have 142 unread text messages. I'm disturbed with myself. I get it. I'm the problem, but don't text me for that very reason.
That gives me anxiety.
Kelsey's pinned in my messages, so that's how I respond to it.
I'm like, I have no like red notifications that like actually drives me up a wall. So I send you love.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But yeah, I could not be caught. Like, now we have message on Everfit, and I just find like I'm actually more responsive that way. And also I'm protecting my peace better, because I think when I used to do text message and I got a text at like 9 p.m., I would open it. And it was before the unread feature was on like Apple. And I would just not respond.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, so disorganized.
Yeah, so just Everfit. That's where you can message me, and that's where I'll respond.
And you'll get a better response from me there versus text always.
Right.
Yeah, another one that had come to mind was like, I was thinking about like I'll never charge that amount. Like, I'll never, things that we do that I said I'd never do. Like, there was a point in my life where I was like, I'll never raise my prices to be this, because I just was always kind of like thinking of the client. Yes. And I think that's important, but also forgetting like the value at which I was actually giving into my program. And like, as the program has grown, I was very humbled by that of like, I need to be charging more because like I have to work with, and we've had this discussion before on this podcast of needing to work with or 30 clients because you're charging $200 a month versus being able to work with 15 clients at, the high threes into the fours. And I look at the quality of my work and I'm like, that's what they're paying for. I give way better quality work because I'm taken care of, obviously financially, but I also then have now the bandwidth to give clients what they deserve and to expand the program in the direction that we want. So there definitely was like this part of me that was always saying like, I'm never going to increase my rates to this, or I'm never going to do that, or I'm never going to get to this point, or I'm never going to tell a client who's paying less now that they need to pay more. Like I always thought I would just lock everyone into like the lowest price that they could. And now that's not the case. Like I've had to have discussions with clients of like, hey, like the prices have increased. Like here's what we've got for you. And those types of things would have sent me into a spiral literally like 5 years ago.
Yeah. And to that point too, and I'm not saying that if you pay less as a client, it means you're not a good client by any means. But primarily the clients who are paying less are not great clients. Like the ones who are only paying or want to pay $100, even $200 a month, they're not like gonna be the best clients. Now, I've had a lot of clients who have paid that amount and have been amazing clients, and it's just genuinely what they can afford. So I'm not saying it's all like that, but you just get a lot lower quality client typically. Yep. At that price point, and you just get a lot more because it hurts a little more getting charged more every month. You're like, well, shit, I got charged $450 this month. Like I have to use that. Like I have to utilize that coaching, where when you're getting charged 100, it's like, well, I just spent that at Target. So like it's subconscious, but you do definitely get a lot better clients too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was literally just thinking, I was like, it's like, I don't want to work with clients that are window shopping, if I'm being honest. Like if you're window shopping based on price, like it's one thing for vibe. I get it. Like you need to do your due diligence. Like just like how you've talked about your pursuit right now of researching coaches for postpartum. Guys, this is the last time I'm recording in our kitchen. And then the next time we record, I'll be in an office. So I will not have the dogs all over me, which is going to be so nice. But anywho, I think to the people who just window shop and they're like, I just want the cheapest coach. Like they only care to know the price. Like in the DMs, they're like, what's the price? They get on the call and they're like, I'm like, any questions? What's the price? You're telling me you don't want to know anything. Like not one thing about me, not one thing about the program. You don't care if I check in once a week or if I check in once a month. Like you don't care. Those are the types of clients I don't want to work with. Yeah. Like I genuinely have no interest in it because they don't care about the value of the program. They only care about the sticker price and that it was shown that they chose it in the clearance section of online coaching. I don't want to be in the clearance section.
Yeah, it's like you can always get a cheaper option, but at what expense? Like you hear so many crazy things. Like it's actually like insane when you get clients that have had other coaches and they tell you the things the coach did, and I'm like, first off, why? But then they're like, well, I was paying this amount. And I'm like, well, that makes sense then. You were getting what you paid for. That coach is not going to put forth a ton of effort to you. And also if you get like a big influencer that's like, I'll take you on as a one-on-one client, and you're paying $150 a month, I can guarantee you she has 1,000 clients. Yeah. And it's probably not even her. They're probably getting ghost coached. So yeah, it's just like all in what it's not to say that every coach that's charging a ton is also going to be a great coach, which is where like having the right questions comes into play too.
Yeah, totally. The last thing I was going to say too, things that I do that I said I would never do is like actually turning people away from my program. Like based on that too. Like I've definitely gotten on sales calls before where I'm like, hey, like I don't think we're actually the best fit for each other. And Kelsey and I have talked before about how we used to just sell anybody who breathed into a program. And I just always thought like, I'm here to make sales. I'm here to like sell people into my program. I'm here to help every single person. And that just isn't the case. Like it's gotten to the point where I have literally turned down people, or I'd be more selective with the people who we take into our program because like that energy is something that I really value. And with everything that Kelsey and I are working on right now with community, like I don't want to bring someone in that's going to disrupt that. Like I want someone who's going to elevate that and like be a part of the culture and embody that culture. And I think that there's programs for everyone. And me saying that me turning someone away isn't me denying someone's ability to get help. It's me wanting to redirect them to a better place where they could probably get help. And I'll always say that, like, hey, I'd love to recommend some other people that I think might be a better fit for you. Like there's tons of coaches, and I don't think that we need to gatekeep clients from each other either. Like I've definitely had people recommend clients to me, and I've recommended clients to them. And it's this beautiful cohesiveness relationship that we get to have.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That was everything on my list.
Mm-hmm. It was a good chit chat.
Good little chat.
Good little chit chat.
Fun to go down memory lane of where we used to be, though.
Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Crazy.
Time flies.
Time does fly.
We'll re-record this in 5 years, and we'll be like, here's the things we do now that we said we wouldn't do.
Reacting to this podcast, we're like, oh, interesting.
They were so silly and so cute at that time.
So little cute little gals.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for listening and tuning in, guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you around, and the next time I'm recording, I'll be in a new office. Thank God.
Wow. And what was I going to say? We don't have a recording for a few weeks. Like, we're not recording for like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're all caught up.
Recorded ahead of time, and
now Chris can enjoy her move.
I don't know if enjoy is the right word. Enjoy is actually the farthest. My mom said that to me today. I'll close with this. I called my mom this morning, and I told her we booked all of our Airbnbs to, like, get across the country. She goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so fun." That was like her immediate reaction. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You guys are just gonna have so much fun on the road," and I was like, "I actually disagree." Like,
yeah,
there's a difference.
You guys are each driving, right?
We're each driving, so we each have a car.
It's tough.
It's also different when, like, I've done out west road trips before where I'm there to do the road trip, right? Like, you're driving from one place to another. There's no agenda. You don't need to worry about getting back at a certain time. Like, you're just wild and free out there. You're just doing your thing. This road trip is not that. This road trip is like, mentally every day I'm probably gonna be like, just get me to my destination. Yeah. We're not making fun pit stops. We're not like, we have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 things that we're doing on this road trip that, like, whatever, is to add a little bit of spice to our lives. But other than that, I am so centered on just getting to Arizona that I'm like, I'm not even, my mom's like, it's gonna be so fun. Like, I don't think so. I think that it's actually gonna be really boring.
You actually don't see the Airbnbs you stay in either. You literally get there at night, and then you're like, all right, like, cool, we're gonna leave.
Literally, like, the Airbnbs, I'm like, I'm not even, there was like one place I was like, oh, this place has like a hot tub, and I was like, who am I kidding? Like, I'm not gonna pay an extra $80 to stay at the place with the hot tub, because I'm not gonna use mentally, I'm gonna check in, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm good.
I want to sleep.
I need sleep. So yeah, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but I will certainly make an experience out of it, and I will report back to all of you guys.
We're just gonna experience her move.
Yes, it will be an experience. I will document it all. We will have 4 dogs with us. We will have cars packed to the brim. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great so time. Awesome. The pod gets dropped off tomorrow, so that's gonna be exciting. And
oh my gosh,
we're just in it. That's all it is.
Yeah, and
Kelsey promised me pizza and gelato for when I get there, so that's all I care about.
Baby shower food.
It's like awesome, beautiful. But yeah, so we'll see.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, exciting times, even if they're not exciting and fun.
Correct.
But guys, thanks for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.